Greetings, everyone. DFG Gideon's Flight here. Hey, guys, I just want to share something with you that was brought to my attention today by one of my sons. I hope he won't mind. My son, Derek, very informed young man and very, very engaged Hebrew Israelite and learning, our culture and growing into culture. But he asked me a critical question earlier today, and it was regard to a comment made by Joe Biden just recently. And, we had some dialogue, and I was able to share with him what thus says Yah in regards to, who gets the right or who has the right to speak to us or speak upon our people. And, when you look at, a Joe Biden, you know what I'm saying? This man would be considered a giant amongst men for no other reason because he's a senator and he's also campaigning for one of the most powerful positions, in the world, the president of the United States. So I would equate him to almost a Goliath in our history book. That type of individual, who has spoken on us before in very, very derogatory terms with the Biden bill, with some of these other comments in regards to who we are as a people. You know what I'm saying? And our mentality, as a people. And so as I'll share with you in a moment what our history book says and what, more importantly, what our history book teaches us on how we are to handle and address these kind of individuals, without giving it away. You know what I'm saying? That's just called the heathens. When the heathens make comments about us, even if they're right, they don't have the right to be able to stigmatize us. And of course, they're trying to clean this lie up. But let me show you the video first of all, and then I'm going to give you some word to back it up, as I always try and do when I'm doing these kind of messages. So first, if you haven't heard what Joe Biden had to say about us as a people, take a quick listen here, okay?
What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
Now let me play this back because you may have missed the first couple of seconds of that, okay? And I want you to catch it all, okay?
Unlike the African American community.
One second. Let's start right here.
Here's some of what he had to say. What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. You go to Florida.
Now, did you hear what he just said? That unlike now, why in the hell would he even use? Why didn't he say unlike the Asian community? Why didn't he say unlike the Irish community or the Italian community? What made this man specifically say unlike the black community, the Latino community is very diverse? Think about that, the audacity to throw us into some conversation that has nothing to do with us, but to say that, unlike other communities out there, unlike the black community, the Latino community is very diverse because, those niggas, they're not diverse in their thinking. They all just kind of pile up and they all go one way like a bunch of blind, ignorant fools. That's what he's saying. Except for a few. Because he tried to say, no, I meant that as far as, like the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans. Well, why did you say with the exception of a few? Okay, maybe you didn't hear him say that. Let's do this, okay? For the sake of for me not misconstruing what this man said, okay? I'm going to play it back for you one more time.
Here's some of what he had to say. What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly...
Did anybody miss that? With a few notable exceptions. That is a clear indictment against our people by this man, who many of you guys right now are still out there pushing, talking about support him because we can't have Trump again. First of all, we should not have no horse in that race and talking about the political, lie that's called the presidential election, process. Y'all tell us not to be a part of that, not to come out and don't touch the unclean things. But again, as a people, we are easily enticed. That's why a guy like this can come out boldly and make these kind of statements, because he knows at the end of the day, many of you guys are going to go run right to the polls and vote for him regardless. Because somehow in your mind, you think that your enemy somehow still loves you. Why? Because of what reason? I would tell you that the only conclusion I can come is that either you're dealing with some special needs issues that you need to get some serious counseling, or maybe you're not on your medication to help you bring about some clarification of thought, or you're just a goddamn fool. Because a Hebrew Israelite man or woman are supposed to know better. We're supposed to have that ability to be able to discern between good and evil. That's what the Rahuk is here for. They call the Holy Spirit. But beyond that, this man, again, just totally disrespected us. We're not diverse as a group of people, with the exception of a few of us. The good niggas. There's always a few good niggas. But the rest of those niggas, they're simply a bunch of lazy, good-for-nothing, useless eaters. Because this is the same piece of white trash that came over here from years ago from Europeans, hundreds of years ago from England. The white trash that they were cleaning out of England, that they sent him and his ancestors down into this country, and later they enriched themselves on the free labor of our people, and now have the audacity to come back and judge our people and make irresponsible statements regarding our people at the expense of every other ethnic group out here. The Latinos, they're very diverse. They're not like them niggas. Oh, excuse me, those African Americans. And again, many of you guys will still stand out there and make excuses for this man. Oh, well, he didn't mean it. Or that you got to listen to the whole. I don't have to listen to the whole goddamn thing. Nothing. If I call you an SOB because you made me mad, I still called you an SOB. Excuse me. I still called you a son of a bitch. Regardless of if I made you mad or not, I still called you a son of a bitch. So no, I don't have to hear everything he said. I just have to hear the essence of what he meant and what he said. And what he said was that we are a bunch of narrow-minded, small-minded, clownish type of people who have no ability to discern, what's in our best interest and what is not. Therefore, we run to the elections and vote for anybody, run to the polls and vote for anybody who we are told to vote for, like a bunch of blind sheep headed to the slaughter. But let me give you some historical context to go along with the statement that I just made. Get your book out. Get your Sefer book out. Yes. Here it is. Can you see that? And go to 1 Samuel with me. Let me tell you how you were supposed to address this. My brothers and my sisters, those of us who are in our right mind, those of us who have the diversity of thought that we're accused, according to this dog, we don't have. But that for that diverse group, that exception of a few, let me speak on behalf of us, that exceptional group that he just spoke about, that exceptional group of African Americans who are not like the rest of them. Let's go here. Let's go to 1 Samuel. We're going to go to chapter 17, and I'm going to start reading at verse 20. Okay? Here we go. And David rose up. This is our forefather David, King David. Before he became king, I might add. 17-year-old Hebrew male, Israelite male. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went to Yishah and to Jesse and as Jesse, his father, had commanded him. And he came to the trench, and as the host was going forth to fight and shouted for battle, for Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David, as he talked with them, behold, there came the champion of the Philistines of Gath, called Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and he spoke according to the same words. And David heard him. Just like this Joe Biden, this giant amongst men, if you look at it from a political perspective, this giant amongst men. And he said, and this is what he said, just like this two-legged dog had the audacity to say, this dog here says this: all men of Israel, when they saw this man, fled from him because they were afraid. So we got a bunch of Uncle Tom cowards out there who are going to support this man no matter what he says. They're going to make excuses for this man no matter what he says or does. As the Joe Biden bill, lock them up. I don't care if we were responsible for the drug addiction, for tearing up their communities, breaking up their families. I don't care. As long as they're not around my little white children, my little white granddaughters, get their asses in prison and let them stay in there and serve all their time. If we're going to give them some help, give their ass some help while they're in jail. That's what Joe Biden said about us in 1994 with the Joe Biden bill, as he called it. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man that has come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who kills him, this is what they said, the man that killed that filthy Philistine dog, the king will enrich him with great riches, and we will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spoke to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that kills this dog and takes away the reproach from Israel? Am I implying to kill that two-legged dog? No, I'm not. But I am saying destroy his ass at the polls. If you're going to go out there, you should abstain from going. We have no dog in that fight. But if you're going to go, why would you go and vote for a guy who's making these kind of comments about you? In front of the whole nation, I might add. With no regard to how you're going to feel about it. And then coming, well, I didn't mean it like that. They taking this out of context. You follow me? That's exactly what this dog is going to say. This two-legged dog. Here's what our forefather David said. What shall be done to the man that kills this filthy dog and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised dog that he should defy the armies of the living Elohim? Verse 27, and the people answered after this manner, saying, so it shall be done to the man that kills him. You follow me? So again, this is how we're supposed to treat men who speak down or speak evil amongst us as a people. We're not supposed to embrace them or make excuses for them. Our mind should have destroy him. Make him pay the ultimate price for disrespecting us as a people. The question is, will you do it? Or will you set aside again and make another excuse for this filthy, two-legged, Gentile, Philistine, uncircumcised dog? Two-legged dog. Or will you man up, woman up, and say, no, not me. Not me, not this time. I'm not going along with it. Not this time. Enough is enough. And as our forefather David said, what should we do? Are we going to let this man disrespect the people of Yah? Are we going to let him get away with disrespecting the people of Yah? Or are we going to put this old bastard out of his misery once and for all? Let him go home and retire with his crackhead sons and daughters. How about that? For your morning, afternoon, or evening message. Love you guys. Enough, guys. DFG. Bye now.